Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome inside of Raleigh, North Carolina's Curtis and Jacqueline Dale Softball Stadium. It is a gorgeous Sunday afternoon for softball, between the North Carolina State Wolfpack and the number 23 Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Drew Blevins alongside Sam LaFell. Sam, NC State wins both games of the doubleheader yesterday, looking for the sweep today. What's it going to take to do it?
Well, Drew, as we saw yesterday, NC State 4-2, 9-2 victories over Notre Dame. I mean, that just speaks for itself. 13 runs in 14 innings. NC State's got a fire with this offense today. Notre Dame really needs to pick it up on the offensive end, only scoring about 4 runs yesterday total in both the games. So if NC State's going to win this game, they just need to play some offense.
Emily Wyman will make her way back into the circle. She pitched an absolute gem yesterday in a 4-2 win in the first game of the doubleheader. Mirabella pitched the second, but Emily Wyman was absolutely on fire, Sam.
Yeah, Wyman 0 earned runs, even though, the 2 on the air in the first inning. But Wyman really just dominated the rest of that game after the first inning. She got into some trouble about the 7th inning when they got second and third, Notre Dame did. But she was able to get out of that, and NC State was able to pull off the victory. So she'll see what she can do today.
For the Fighting Irish, leadoff batter is going to be number 21, Carly Wester. She had a lot going for her yesterday. Behind her, Jenna Simon and Emily Kerner will bat in the third spot for the Fighting Irish. Those will be the first 3. The battery for the Wolfpack, Emily Wyman on the mound. Molly Hutchison, known much more for her bat than her catching ability in yesterday's contest, will be behind the plate. Wester just outside the batter's box as we are nearly ready to go here from Raleigh, NC State and the Fighting Irish.
First pitch, 12:01.
12:01 the time of the first pitch. It's a leadoff ball, very similar to how we opened things up yesterday. As Wester lets that one go inside. And that's something Wyman struggled with early, finding those spots. We'll see if she's going to be able to do any better in the early going here today. Another one just inside.
And you've got to be careful with Wester, too. That 408 average and 71 plate appearances. She's going to put the ball in play if she can hit it.
It's the same umpire crew as we had yesterday, except Bill Gomelich is back behind the plate. Eric Manley, the home plate umpire from yesterday, has moved down to the first base line. Bobby DeMaio on third base. A little doinker back to the pitcher, mishandled. Wyman will take her first error as Wester will reach base. Tough one to swallow for the Wolfpack as shadows of yesterday's opening frame are creeping back in. 2 errors on 2 runs in the first inning yesterday for NC State.
Yeah, let's see if Wyman can come back from that. Maybe possibly turn the double play to get these 2 outs right here.
It's the second baseman, Jenna Simon, coming up to bat for the Fighting Irish here with a runner on. Fakes the bunt. Ball is low and away.
And I really like to see the rotation from NC State's infield. Everybody's moving. Everybody knows what to do in this situation.
You do have to be careful, though. Anything that's pulled away could be a bunt and go. Wester has a whole lot of speed. 8 for 8 stealing this season. Had one yesterday against the Wolfpack. Wyman eyes the target. The bunt pitch is up high, and that nearly took Simon's head off. The defensive movement of the bat. Foul ball, strike 1. And Sam, what this does open up is a chance for Katie Haas to get back up to the plate here. She's the cleanup batter. Has been dangerous for Notre Dame. Didn't have a lot of production yesterday. But these top 4 for the Fighting Irish are dangerous hitters when they're on their game.
Yeah, Haas is leading the Notre Dame team in home runs this season with 5. So if Haas gets on with runners on, she's dangerous.
Another bunt, a little doinker right down to third base. Van Dyken scoops it up, throws to first. Gets the runner, but Wester advances to second. On the sacrifice. Well done by Van Dyken to go ahead and get up the line and field that bunt, because Jenna Simon is no slouch when it comes to speed.
Yeah, Simon's quick, Wester's quick. But Notre Dame playing some small ball right now. You got to do what you got to do to score some runs.
Emily Kerner stepping in to the batter's box here for Notre Dame. Another left-handed batter to face the right-handed pitcher, Wyman. Runner on second, 1 out. Opening pitch, this is swung on, fouled very high up in the air, and that is just going to make its way right onto the top of the NC State dugout.
That's another interesting, too. We got 3 left-handed batters to start the rotation for Notre Dame. And then you come up to Katie Haas, who's that first right-hander, the cleanup spot.
Not only that, it's 5 of the first 4 for Notre Dame.
And against the right-hander of Emily Wyman, that's a good advantage for Notre Dame.
0-1 pitch as Wyman toes the rubber in the circle once again. Wind up and the pitch. That's a ball inside. Wester going down to third, makes it easily. Surprise steal there for Wester as she continues her perfect streak, now 9 for 9.
And Hutchison just not able to handle that ball well.
Hutchison didn't get a good jump. Van Dyken wasn't on the base in time either, and Wester just swiped it.
Yeah, just very good heads-up play by Wester there.
Kerner opens the stance here, would expect nothing more than a sac fly. Wyman lines up, fires. That is a called strike as it paints the outside corner. 1-2 now. The Fighting Irish did a spectacular job yesterday of utilizing their patience, forcing Wyman to throw more pitches than were necessary in some cases. And that can start to play with the pitcher, even though softball does not have as much of an arm fatigue factor as baseball. Called strike 3! Got it on the outside corner, and Kerner walks back to the dugout dejected. That may have been a generous strike zone there, but nonetheless, the home plate umpire Gomelich says she's out of there, and it's the first strikeout of the day for Wyman.
And a huge one at that. If Wyman can get out of this, that'll be the good way to start the game here.
So Notre Dame has Wester 75 feet from home. Line up with the pitch here, swung on by Haas. Little out in front of it as she fouls it right down the first base line on the spin ball. That's one thing that Courtney Mirabella does perhaps a little better than Emily Wyman. Those change-up pitches, you really don't know. The arm speed is there. It's just that grip and the spin she puts on that ball is phenomenal.
Yeah, Mirabella's drop on her changeup is just incredible. I mean, we saw that in the second game against Notre Dame yesterday.
Wyman locks back into the mound. The 0-1 pitch. Swung on and fouled straight back. Haas was swinging for the fences on that one. Got it up high and inside. But Wyman will be ahead in the count 0-2.
Wyman's pretty much in the driver's seat right now. Though she's in some trouble with the runner on third. 0-2 count with 2 out. She can really throw something out of the zone and get Haas to chase.
Pitches to play with here for Emily Wyman. Haas locks back in. Payoff pitch at 0-2, and that one's low and away. You know, had Wyman not driven that ball so much, it could have functioned as more of a spin. It's a right location for it, but it never started up and in and curled low and away. It was there from the beginning.
Yeah, it was a good idea. It just didn't start off right.
We'll see if Wyman goes back on the attack here. 1-2. And that one bounces right back into Hutchison. She's allowed Haas to get back into the count, now 2-2.
Now you got to have a sense of urgency if you're Emily Wyman. You don't want to get that full count.
Wester eyes the pitcher, really no sign of her going. No squeeze play would be expected here. Wind up in the pitch, that one swung on, good crack at it, just a little late on the fastball. She puts it right into the Notre Dame bullpen.
And I don't think Haas was expecting the speed there. She came around really late on that ball.
She did, but a good job to get that bat leveled up. Couldn't put it in play, but stays alive with a foul. It's been a good battling at bat for Haas.
That's a pretty quick thing. Just slip that thing away. I don't know what our equivalent would be.
Everybody locked back in. The 2-2 pitch. And that one's up high. Full count now against Katie Haas, the cleanup hitter. Michaela Arizmendi is on deck for Notre Dame.
All Haas has to do is make contact on the ground.
Does have a little bit of room up the middle. I'm sure she'd like to try to drive something. We're out there in the gap area. Here's the pitch, swung on, foul down the third base line. Nearly took out Coach Deanna Gump. She's down there on third base. And regardless of who wins this battle at the plate right now, it's going to be a momentum builder. A hit should score Wester. A strikeout is huge for NC State to force Notre Dame to strand one of their best runners 75 feet away from home. Line up in the pitch. That one's up high. So Haas takes the stroll down to first. Runners on the corners with 2 outs for Michaela Arizmendi, the Fighting Irish first baseman.
I'm interested to see what Notre Dame's going to do here. Haas doesn't really have a whole lot of speed, but with first and third, You could take your first, Haas could steal second pretty easily.
Doesn't have much speed, as this one's ripped right back up to Renata Davis at shortstop on the first pitch. She'll tag second to get out of the inning. Notre Dame strands 2, but we're able to reach base on the walk and the error from the pitcher, Emily Wyman. At the end of the top of the first, it is NC State 0, Notre Dame unable to score. Wolfpack coming to the plate with their top 3. You're watching NC State Softball on Wolfpack Sports Television and GoPack.com. Welcome back to Raleigh. NC State 0, Notre Dame 0. This very early softball matchup. Top of the first inning, Notre Dame is able to reach on an error by pitcher Emily Wyman and a walk. But the Wolfpack will look to answer after stranding 2 of the Fighting Irish base runners on. It'll be Renata Davis, Lana Van Dyken, and Molly Hutchison to lead off for NC State here in the back end of the first.
I'm really excited to see what NC State can do as far as generating some offensive power to kick off this game for them.
Rachel Naslin back in the circle. First pitch swung on, lifted, way back out of the right center, going! It is gone! Renata Davis, first pitch, leadoff home run. NC State up 1-0. A rocket from Renata. Simply spectacular. She will tag home 1-0 Pack.
Renata struggled not at all with that ball. She took it into another zip code, if you want to say that. That ball is out into the woods in right center field.
That one's practically on Western Boulevard by now, and it's Lana Van Dyken to try to build off of that one.
Huge, huge start for the Wolfpack there.
Now batting, number 10, third base, Lana Van Dyken.
Lana Van Dyken digs in. She's the third baseman, sure-handed at that. First pitch to her is outside. The only good news is that Notre Dame still has 6 innings of at-bats to try to fight off that leadoff home run. Naslin pitches a bouncer outside once again. Rachel Naslin pitched the first game for the Fighting Irish yesterday in a 4-2 losing effort to NC State. Back behind the plate is the Warrior, Cassidy Whidden. She took one up in the chops in the latter portion of the game yesterday, the second game that is. Manages to fight back despite what looked to be a scary injury to begin with. Another ball as it creeps outside. 3-0 hitters count for Van Dyken.
Not a good start for Naslin. And let's not forget in the first game yesterday, all 4 of the runs she gave up were off of 3 home runs, 2 solo shots, and a 1-2er.
3-0 would expect to take here. And that one's outside. 4 straight balls for Naslin. Van Dyken takes the stroll to first, and that will bring up another dangerous power hitter, Molly Hutchison. Hutchison led off her day with a home run yesterday that tied off the ball game at 2-2, and then went to have the go-ahead home run in the bottom half of the 6th inning for NC State.
Hutchinson, 6 home runs on the season this season in 17 games. She had 10 home runs last season in 51 games.
Naslin toes the rubber, another one outside.
54 games, excuse me.
And in 6 pitches, 1 is a home run, none are strikes for Naslin. She really needs to try to dial into that strike zone a little bit more. Line up in the pitch here. Finally gets one called strike on the outside corner. The count grows to 1-1. Already some work in the Notre Dame bullpen. Wouldn't expect too much. It is Allie Rhodes warming up. This one hit by Hutchinson. This is deep. Well foul, though. She turned onto that one and knocked it over near the concourse railing in the soccer stadium. The sound may not have done how much power was put on that ball justice.
Yeah, that ball would have been a home run if it was fair.
Hutchison digs back in. Down to the count, 1-2. Naslin winds up and fires. The rise ball's sent way high. 2-2 now.
Naslin really needs to throw something low to see if she can get Hutchison to hit it on the ground.
And even not, she can get her chasing something low and away. Hutchison does have a good eye. Line up of the pitch here. This one is popped very, very, very high into center field. taken by Kerner for the first out of the inning for Notre Dame.
Just a little bit under that one.
Yeah, a good contact by Hutchison.
Number 8.
And those fly balls could pose a little bit more difficulty than they did yesterday. The sun is practically directly above the field, and there is not a cloud in the sky.
And Hutchinson is so strong, she doesn't need to get all the ball to hit it out of here.
Just needs to put the barrel onto the ball. Line of the pitch here to Tyler Ross. She's the cleanup hitter. Swing and miss, strike one. Ross is out in left field today.
If he gets it, I mean, it's going, but she's like 14. He's like, that's exactly like,
Ross digs back in.
she got the barrel on it.
Line up in the pitch here. That one's high and away. Ball one. Good patience by NC State. They seemed a little bit hurried in the first few innings of yesterday's ball game.
We're not hitting it all.
Yeah, they're really sitting back, waiting for their pitch and taking their time.
Another ball is outside. Already today, Rachel Aslan has thrown twice as many balls as she has strikes. It's got to be frustrating for the Notre Dame dugout. Line up the pitch here. This one is swung on by Ross, and this is going to be popped foul down the first base line, well out of the stadium. Do have to be careful here at Curtis and Jack-Landale Softball Stadium, as there is a parking lot down either baseline. If the ball leaves the stadium, somebody may need a new car hood.
Or a windshield.
Count it 2-2. Line up of the pitch here. Swing and a miss. And going is Van Dyken. She makes it safely on the Ross strikeout. Heads up base running by the NC State third baseman. That'll put her into scoring position. No, it won't.
They're going to call batter interference there on Tyler Ross.
And Sean Rychick can't believe it. Honestly, neither can I. If she stepped in over that front chalk line in the batter's box, it's the right call, but I did not see her do so. Nonetheless, that is going to be the call on the interference. It functions as a double play. Notre Dame gets out of the inning with the minimal damage done. It is a rocket from Renata that gives NC State the lead here early from Curtis and Jack-Landale Softball Stadium. Notre Dame looking to answer in the top half of the second. We'll be right back with NC State Softball on Wolfpack Sports Television and GoPack.com. Beautiful day in Raleigh for softball here as Notre Dame comes back up to the plate for the top of the second inning. Leading off will be the catcher, Cassidy Whidden. Whidden took a shot off of a foul ball right up in the cheekbone area in yesterday's second half of the doubleheader. So she does have the cage on her batting helmet today. First pitch to her is a ball outside.
Yeah, I would say we prefer functionality over fashion right now.
Whidden looks at the ball, lets that one go low, ball two. Now Emily Wyman having her own struggles hitting the plate.
The easiest way to come back from this 1-0 deficit for Notre Dame right now is just going to be to take advantage of Wyman in this second inning.
Well, and it is a matter of swinging the bat, but Notre Dame was able to run the bases very well. They're able to put runners in scoring position. They're just going to need a little bit more production from the lineup as a whole instead of those top three.
Exactly. And once Wyman gets comfortable, she's dangerous. It's the beginning innings when she'll give up the most runs, if any.
The 3-0 to Whidden. That's low, ball four. Wyman sends the Notre Dame catcher down to first base on 4 straight. That's going to bring up Africano to the plate. Africano is the designated player for NC State today as the pitching coach has come out to have a discussion with Emily Wyman. All seems to be well. Wyman settled as it's another leadoff runner on base with nobody out. Fortunately for NC State, it's the bottom half of the Fighting Irish lineup. Casey Africano is the designated player today for Notre Dame. Wyman eyes the target and fires. Called strike one on the outside corner. Good pitch by Wyman right there. Not a lot Africano could do with that one.
That's a good way to start in that bat, too. You always want to start with that strike to get ahead.
batter interferes with the catcher, would that be the call? Because that says it would go.
0-1 pitch.
Go to you.
Bunt ends up nicking off the inner part of the bat straight down off the shoe of Africano.
That was my next guess.
It's a little bit of a surprising bunt there. She didn't show it on the first go-round, but now she's in the hole 0-2, so the bunt play should be nullified.
I thought about that initially, but I wasn't sure because I had to do one of those in.
Yeah, me either. I gotta make a note of that now at the bottom. If interferes with
Whitten does have a little bit of speed, so Africano would be able to get her over pretty easily.
Line up in the pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3. Another K on the resume for Emily Wyman. She sends Africano packing on 3 straight. So now Notre Dame will send up Sarah White, the shortstop.
Now batting number 22, shortstop, Sarah White.
well done, Justin.
Whitten remains on first.
Yeah.
Not really a running threat, although she has gone 2 for 2 stealing. This one could be a double play ball right up to the freshman Compton to Davis. Throw back to first. They got her! What an well-executed double play by NC State. They will get out of the inning facing only 3 batters and head right back up to the plate.
What a tight play at first base there. It was a good contact by Sarah White, but really good play by the NC State infield to get that out.
Hawkins, Burrows, and Yeager up to the plate for the Wolfpack in the bottom half of the second. We'll be right back with NC State coming to the plate. You're watching NC State Softball on Wolfpack Sports Television and GoPack.com. Off the momentum from the NC State double play, the Wolfpack will come up to bat here. Leading off for NC State is going to be Maggie Hawkins. She's the state first baseman today.
Maggie Hawkins.
State led off the first inning with a solo home run, so even lead off the second inning with a solo home
They'd
run.
certainly like to. Hitting for Hawkins has not exactly come the easiest of anybody. She's only batting .245. Granted, she does have 4 home runs this season. The windup in the pitch, a low and inside, ball 1.
I can set up my stuff over there and do it, but I don't think I'll be much help. Paying attention to 5 different things. I'm willing to do it.
Naslin will eye the target again. Lines up and fires this one. That's sent right back up to the shortstop. Picked up by White. Fires it over to her first baseman, Arizmendi. 1 up, 1 down for Notre Dame. Good contact on that ball by Hawkins, but just couldn't drive it up the middle quite enough. She hooked it right back over towards Sarah White.
Now coming to the plate, number 14, designated player, Meredith Burrows.
And Sam, we were talking off camera, this could be a very, very quick baseball game. Expect to see a lot of outs, and a lot of them are going to be on ground balls or strikeouts as well.
Yeah, we have 2 very dominant pitchers in this game, so we'll see what happens here. But NC State with that leadoff home run could be very, very dangerous as opposed to any other game because of the fierce pitching.
One of the 2 NC State starting freshmen is Meredith Burrows. She comes up to bat here. Takes the first ball. Wind up in the pitch, another one outside to Burrows.
Majority of these kids will line up, they hit
Burrows also not hitting the best. 6 hits on 44 at-bats, but that may be a little bit of the youthfulness speaking there. That one taken just under waist high. Strike 1.
Yeah, starting freshmen can always be a good idea because you want to get them playtime experience as they get older and as you have some of your seniors leave. In NC State's case, you have 2 seniors leaving.
Burrows is the designated player. Hefty cut there. And misses for strike 2.
Then she hit one this year, so she's got the last 2 grand slams.
2-2 count now, and looks like Naslin has gained control as this at bat as opposed to the first 2 balls that we saw.
Rachel Naslin winds up and fires this one, fouled off down the third base line and out of play. Got to give Burrows credit though for battling. She's not just getting up there and standing and watching. And offense has not been the biggest of issues for NC State by any stretch of the means. This is a power hitting softball team.
Oh yeah.
Burrows will dig back in, preparing for the 2-2 pitch. Naslin prepared to deliver. A rock back, and she fires just outside. The count is now 3-2. This is one Naslin really does not want to let get away from her.
Yeah, and you can see Rychik over there on the third baseline just talking to Burrows, telling her not to drop her shoulder on her swing.
High and away for ball 4. Naslin was not thrilled with the call, just does miss that upper corner of the plate. It's another walk, and NC State has a runner on with 1 out.
That was a really good way to work the count there for Burrows. Her 6th walk of the season.
Hannah Yeager coming up to bat here, the NC State center fielder. Singled plenty of times yesterday, in the second game especially, but that was against Allie Rhodes. Did not have much going for her against Naslin. Line up of the pitch, a bouncer to the plate, it's a ball. The Burrows' threat to steal statistically is not evident, has not attempted any, and has not converted any as a result. Rock and the pitch. This one is swung on, lifted very high but very foul. And that'll be put right back onto Cates Avenue. 1-1 now.
Glad I parked a fair distance away.
So I'm sure you guys about bugged out of your head when that kid's going around to let down.
1 on, 1 out, the count, 1-1. Line up of the pitch, high and away, ball 2. Good patience exhibited by Yeager here once again. Barring a double play, it'll be another 4-batter faced inning for Naslin. Lines up and throws. This one is fouled directly back over the press box. Have to be careful. Our camera crew, Chris Lehman, is just outside the press box here, and that one was headed right in his direction. Count now at 2-2 for Yeager. Naslin once again works on the far outside part of that mound. Fires that one right across the plate. Called strike 3. Second out of the inning on the Yeager strikeout looking. And that's a big one for Naslin. It's going to bring up Morgan Farrington to the plate. Farrington, the right fielder for the Wolfpack today, did not start the first game of the doubleheader yesterday, but did the second.
And this is Farrington's 2nd game started this entire season. 12 appearances, only her 2nd start. 7 at-bats, 0 hits, so we'll see if she can get that first hit of the season here today.
Love to have it here. The lineup of the pitch, swing and a miss. Strike 1 out in front of the changeup. Farrington was shifted around right center and then eventually taken out slightly early in the 6th inning. Relieving her was freshman Macaulay Prickett. Runner on first, 2 outs. That one lifted high, ball 1.
Was your opinion that they were just good, or they...
Naslin all of a sudden starting to dial in, not missing as badly as she was earlier. Got a rise ball. She'll lock in again. The rock back and the pitch. Check swing. Did she go around? No, she did not. Count grows to 2-1.
And from up here, that looks like the right call.
It did. And really, the umpires have had a good series. Not too many questionable calls by any stretch of the means, and certainly none that had an impact on the outcome of the game. Target eyed. Burrows still on first. That one's inside, 3-1.
These umpires do go through a lot to get to where they are.
Well, they do. And here, and I'm sure this is what Cassidy Witten is telling her pitcher, Rachel Naslin has to find a way to get out of these innings. It's unnecessary to face extra batters, especially with 2 outs.
And from Notre Dame's perspective, if you're going to get a batter out, it's going to be Morgan Farrington. So you really want to take advantage of this at bat.
Up next is Alyssa Compton, the freshman. So there's the safety valve as Farrington puts that one down the line, just foul. Good contact by Farrington. Burrows got a good jump on it and might have scored from first if she had wheeled around. But it lands a couple feet just outside the chalk line, so it functions as a long strike.
Farrington did everything she needed to do on that. She was just a little bit early.
Farrington digs back in. Full count on her. Wind up and the pitch swung and fouled straight back over Widden's head. She'll stay alive. Crowd starting to buzz a little bit here, as are both dugouts. Both teams right up on the netting here at Dale Softball Stadium. Naslin eyes the target, fires, called strike 3. Down goes Tharrington, and Rachel Naslin gets out of the inning unscathed. One left on base on the walk, but Notre Dame will go back on offense heading into the top of the third. You're watching NC State Softball on Wolfpack Sports Television and GoPack.com. The Fighting Irish will come back up to the plate, 9-1-2 in the batting order. It'll be Megan Sorley out in right field to lead off for Notre Dame. Lyman winds up and fires. Just misses outside, ball 1.
Has a strike.
Oh, they did call it strike. It's a much different mechanic by Bill Gomelich. Likes to call first, then give a signal. The 0-1 pitch. Called strike 2. Well, if Sorley's going to give it to her, then Wyman is going to work that outside corner all day long.
Her pitch is middle in. Seen her maybe. Well, no, I think that she hit one against
Sorley stares down the pitcher Wyman. The 0-2 delivery. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Wyman sends another of the Fighting Irish packing, 1 up, 1 down.
3 pitches, 3 strikes. That's the definition of efficiency in softball.
Now batting number 21.
But now Notre Dame brings up the most potent part of their lineup. It's Carly Wester.
She's falling apart.
For her second at-bat, reached on an error in the first inning. Wyman pitches, slapped right back over to the shortstop. Davis's throw is in time! Right over to Maggie Hawkins, 2 up, 2 down. Davis read the slap like a book, and Wester sent packing.
4 pitches, 2 outs. If Emily Wyman can get out of here with less than 10 pitches, that's an efficient inning.
Jenna Simon coming up to bat for Notre Dame. Simon bunted out on the sack, 5-3. Slap attempt, half-hearted swing and a miss. That looked like it was one that handcuffed Simon too. Started out high and dropped low to the knees, just as Simon was heading out of the box for the slap attempt. The 0-1 delivery, hacked at and fouled back behind home plate, 0-2. And Emily Wyman is very close to making exceedingly quick work of the Fighting Irish in the top of the third. Simon stares down the pitcher, Wyman. Eyes the target, a windup in the pitch, slapped right back up to second base. Compton gets it on the 2, Hopper fires it over to first. 3 up, 3 down in that inning for NC State, and a 6-pitch inning for Emily Wyman.
Emily Wyman, like a bull in a china shop, just wasted no time at all in that inning.
So it's a very efficient inning for Emily Wyman and the NC State defense. They'll look to build on the momentum heading into the bottom half of the third. You're watching NC State Softball on Wolfpack Sports Television and GoPack.com. Welcome back to Curtis and Jacqueline Dale Softball Stadium here in Raleigh, North Carolina. NC State holding a 1-0 lead over the number 23 Notre Dame Fighting Irish. It's been an impressive display by NC State, both offensively and defensively, despite the fact it is a low-scoring game. Leading off is freshman Alyssa Compton for the Wolfpack. Ball 1 to her.
And 1-0 is certainly not a comfortable lead, but if Wolfpack can get some more runs in this inning, they'll be sitting pretty the rest of the game.
They do have a couple of power hitters slated to hit in this upcoming inning and the one after. Wind up and the pitch. This one is swung on, beat right out to center near the warning track, and Kerner has a beat on it and will catch it for the first out of the inning.
Compton with no home runs yet on the season, but that came close. She just needed to get a little bit more of the barrel on the ball there.
Another good contact, just a near miss. It's NC State's all-time home runs leader coming up to the plate here, Renata Davis, who rocketed one in the first inning, and that's the difference right now. Davis digs in. Naslin winds up and fires this one. And that one nicked off of her bat. That'll count as a foul. 0-1.
And I'm sure as Naslin's looking to do the same thing that Wyman did in this past inning, make quick work of the Wolfpack here.
That was her third pitch of the inning. As Davis will dig back in. She's going to have to deal with a more patient hitter in Lana Van Dyken coming up. Wind up and the pitch. Comes a ball just off the outside corner. It's another decent showing here at Curtis and Jacklandale Softball Stadium. The place was nearly packed yesterday and about 3/4 full here today. Wind up and the pitch, and that one sails high, 2-1.
I mean, it's a really nice day for some softball, so people come sit out here and watch the Wolfpack take on the Fighting Irish.
Out, the state baseball team is also in action on the other side of campus at Doak Field, finishing off their series for the Clemson Tigers. The winner of that game will win the series. Wind up of the pitch. That one's high again, 3-1.
Naslin getting into some trouble now. First batter, first strike of this at bat went pretty well, but she's falling behind a little bit.
Davis digs back in. Hitters count at 3-1. Wouldn't be surprised to see a swing. Wind up, and it's inside for ball 4. Renata Davis will be the next one to take the stroll down to first base, and that will bring up Lana Van Dyken.
Now coming to the plate, number 10, Lana Van Dyken.
And now, Sam, this is getting to be a little bit of a precarious situation for Naslin. If it's a hit here by Van Dyken, she could be looking at having 1 or 2 runners in scoring position with Molly Hutchison coming up. Lined up and the pitch here. And called strike on the outside corner.
If Van Dyken gets on too, Van Dyken has the utmost amount of speed that I've seen from any of these NC State players, so Hutchison could put her in with a blooper to right field.
Naslin eyes the target again. Swing and a miss by Van Dyken. Count grows to 0-2 against the state batter.
Good at bat so far for Naslin. Really working. Van Dyken realizes that she can't afford a mistake right now.
Van Dyken stares down the pitcher. Davis on first. The windup of the pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3. That will send Van Dyken packing. As Renata Davis had a generous secondary lead there, but is able to get back. And this is going to bring up the catcher, Molly Hutchison. Now, an interesting note about Hutchison and Naslin, the two are both from San Diego, California. Former teammates are the pitcher and the batter. Played on the same travel ball team growing up in the high school years. Wind up and the pitch here. This one is sent right through the gap. 5.5 hole single for Molly Hutchison as she will head down to first base, advancing 1 into scoring position for the cleanup hitter, Tyler Ross.
Now batting number 8, Tyler Ross.
Ross had perhaps the most interesting scoring play of the day, struck out, and meanwhile Lana Van Dyken tried to steal, but Ross was called for batter interference on the throw down, functioning as a double play for Notre Dame to get out of a rough first inning. First pitch is a strike.
Ross really looking to do something here. She has 11 RBIs in the season. She'd really like to put in Van Dyken if she can.
Ross did have a home run yesterday. It functioned as the cushion to pad NC State's 4-2 victory over the Fighting Irish in Game 1 of yesterday's doubleheader. Naslin winds up and fires this one. That one is just outside, 2-1.
Tyler Ross looked pretty confused there. It looks like she wanted to swing, but she didn't.
Ross locks in once again. Naslin fires this one. This one is going to be lifted foul down the third base line. Right up near the soccer complex concourse. You want to talk about the power hitting of NC State, all you got to do is just look at their foul balls. These are typically well hit, just not straight.
I think if NC State was playing cricket, they'd be in good shape.
The 2-2 pitch.
Yeah, that's some killing it down there, man. I appreciate it. I mean, killing it.
Wind up and the pitch. This is swung on. Lifted high. Lifted deep. See ya! That one's on Western Boulevard. Tyler Ross goes deep. A 3-run shot from Ross. NC State has a 4 spot on the board.
And once again, that's 2 home runs hit off of Rachel Naslin today. 3 in the first game yesterday.
That was an absolute bomb from Tyler Ross. You knew it was gone as soon as you heard the crack of the bat. State goes from up 1-0 to up 4-0, just like that.
You got it, Drew. There was no question about that ball at all. She hit it, and you just knew.
Van Dyken and Davis score along with Ross on the long shot. And now this is Maggie Hawkins, the Hofstra transfer. Naslin eyes the target, winds up and fires this one. All one.
Huge momentum builder for NC State right there. 4-0 lead now.
Hawkins digs in once more. Wind up and the pitch. That one's high and inside.
Rachel Naslin just needs to forget about the home run. Just get Maggie Hawkins out here.
Well, it's that pitcher's short memory, similar to an ice hockey goaltender. You get scored on, you got to forget about it. Wind up and the pitch. This one swung on a little blooper, could drop, but it will not! Oh my, what a diving catch! Great job by Carly Wester. What hasn't she done this weekend?
That was
Spectacular effort.
phenomenal play.
So Wester with a diving catch sends Hawkins packing. That may be the best defensive play Notre Dame has had in this series. NC State heads back out to the field to defend. They're up 4-0 after the 3-run shot from Tyler Ross. You're watching NC State Softball on Wolfpack Sports Television and GoPack.com. After the Tyler Ross home run, Notre Dame needs to find a response, and this is the place to do it. The heart of their lineup, Kerner, Hawes, and Arizmendi up to bat for Notre Dame this inning. The first pitch is a called strike.
Great job. And if you're Notre Dame, you really don't want to worry about getting home runs or taking the ball out of the park. You want to play that smart softball. You want to get the ball in play. You want to get runners on base.
Notre Dame trying to get the energy up. It's a swing and a miss on the inside pitch. Strike 2 to Kerner.
I thought about that coming into this trip, but now
But if Emily Wyman can ride the momentum for NC State and get them out of the inning with no damage done at all, that'll be huge for the Wolfpack.
Right now, she is staring a no-hitter in the face. By technicality, the only runners to reach were on walks and 1 error, as that one sails outside, ball 1. Wyman will dig in once again, looking to try to finish off Emily Kerner.
she's running out of gas.
Wind up and the pitch. That one bounces into home plate. Lyman has let Kerner slip off the hook a little, 2-2.
This first out for Wyman will be huge. You get your cleanup batter Haas on with nobody on base. It's ideally the situation you want to be in.
But they could find it.
Check swing. It'll be an appeal. She did not go. The pitch is too far inside. It's a full count. Kind of surprised for the appeal there on the check swing. It certainly didn't appear like she came remotely close to going across.
Oh no, not at all.
Payoff pitch in the full count. Lined up in the delivery, and that's going to be beaten down the first baseline foul into the Notre Dame dugout.
Well, we already thrown as many pitches this at bat as Wyman did the whole last inning.
Emily Wyman keeps dealing her best stuff here in the ACC opening series. Up to this point, NC State had no home games. They were slated to play a series against Syracuse that was canceled due to snow. Check swing once again. Did she go? Does not matter. It'll be a K2-3 right across the way as Hutchinson throws that across. And they are going to say she went around anyway on the appeal. Does not matter. Hutchinson finishes the job. Strikeout for Wyman. First out of the inning.
Some confusion there on Haas's side. She stayed on the bag for a little while because she didn't realize she was out.
I'm not sure if she went around, to be quite honest, as that one nicks the outside corner, just misses.
Very close play indeed.
Trying to sell it.
Yeah, it's alright.
Haas walked back in the first inning. She'll stare down Lyman. The delivery. Check swing, called strike. That was interesting. If Kerner could have reached base, that would have set up a very interesting inning. It's something that Notre Dame needs, is to find a way to get runners on first and then start advancing them. Carly Wester's gone the furthest of any Notre Dame player today, and that's third base. Swing and a miss. Hefty cut right there by Haas. She's out in front of the changeup.
Yeah,
1-2.
she made it to third on the error and the stolen base, but still would have been good for Notre Dame to lead off the game with a run. Now NC State's taking advantage of that, and they're up 4-0.
That one's just outside. Haas trying to dial in here. Really hasn't had too much on Emily Wyman throughout the course of the weekend. Wyman eyes the target. The 2-2 pitch. Swung on. This one is lifted very high. Out of the left field. No doubt about that one. That is gone. Notre Dame is on the scoreboard. Finally, the cleanup hitter gets it done on Emily Wyman. 4-1. NC State still leads, but the momentum shifting slightly toward the Shamrocks.
That was a huge, huge hit for Notre Dame. Too bad it was only a solo home run, but Haas just got around that ball. She hit it harder than I've seen a ball hit yet.
And Notre Dame knows how important this one is.
Haas
Now
put
4-1.
Haas put that one on the soccer field across the way there.
It's one of the few flat pitches that Emily Wyman ever throws, and Katie Haas makes her pay. Michaela Arizmendi, the Irish first baseman, digging in here. Wyman and the pitch, that one swung, beat foul. A hard one-hopper down the first base line. Sam, to be quite honest, that's just what the doctor ordered for Notre Dame, is now they're going to work with the lower half of the NC State lineup that hasn't been productive in the next inning, and that could leave them some room to try to keep growing this comeback effort.
Yeah, Notre Dame still has 2 outs left in this inning, so they can keep going. I mean, you saw the contact there. I mean, she just got a hold of that ball, and Arizmendi really hit that ball hard.
Wyman hits the high inside corner there. High outside, pardon. 0-2. Quickly up on Arizmendi is Emily Wyman. Trying to strike her out here. That pitch is outside.
And Emily Wyman will ride the outside corner to both left and right-handed batters.
Arizmendi is batting .286. Very average. 18 hits on 63 appearances. She'd love to make that 19 on 64 here. Lined up in the pitch. Swung on. Right by the first baseman. Notre Dame has another single. And it's 1 on with 1 out and a run scored already this inning. And now for Deanna Gumpf, it's going to have to be finding a way to do something that hasn't been done all weekend, and that's getting production from the lower half of the lineup. And it starts with the catcher, Cassidy Whidden.
My guess would be
You really look to your lower half of the lineup to generate power if they can, because that'll build a lot of momentum for your team. I mean, Notre Dame with 1 run here, runner on first base. If they can keep this inning going for a while, get to their maybe number 9 hitter Megan Sorley up to Carly Wester at the number 1 spot, they're looking to, be sitting pretty here.
Morgan Reed will come in to pinch run for Michaela Arizmendi. Whidden will still stay at the plate here. Reed is much faster than her counterpart. Got a good secondary lead there. Called strike 1 of the pitch. Lyman will look to dial in here. Really was a solid hit from Arizmendi, though. Sends it right back down the first base line, just out of the reach of Hawkins. Check swing. Did she go? She did. 0-2 once again.
0-2, and I'm surprised Notre Dame really hasn't run the hit and run yet, but Wyman also hasn't given him anything to hit yet in this at-bat.
On a 1 out, certainly every chance is precious to Notre Dame from here on out. You don't want to sacrifice unless you have to. That one's just outside. Reed trying to steal. Did she get her? No! Tag was not down in time. The throw beat her there.
Really, really good play by Reed there to get her foot in just under the tag.
Well stolen by Reed, who got down in time. As I said, the throw was there. But Davis just could not lay down the glove in time. So a runner in scoring position with 1 out, 1 and 2. This one swung. Chopper right over to Compton, who finishes the job to first. But Reed will scamper right back down onto third. So once again, Notre Dame with a runner 75 feet from home. Coming up to bat here is going to be Casey Africana, the designated player.
Here you go, Case.
And Africano actually leads the Notre Dame team in strikeouts this season with 13.
Wind up in the pitch. That one's a number. If she beats it out, it could be a good play, but it's going to be finished off by the freshman Compton. Good composure on the spinning hit. So NC State will survive despite the fact Emily Wyman gives up her first hit of the game.
1 run on 2 hits, no errors.
Notre Dame will head back out. The home run coming off of Katie Haas's bat. And Whidden's pinch runner is able to advance all the way across to third. NC State still leads 4-1. They'll look to build on it going into the back end of the fourth. You're watching NC State Softball on Wolfpack Sports Television and GoPack.com. Welcome back to North Carolina here under the beautiful Raleigh sky. NC State holding a 4-1 lead over the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. State now on a quest to try to sneak into the top 25 in the softball polls. And right now, the only thing holding them back is a poor loss to Elon throughout the course of this week. A sweep here could allow them to overcome that, though. Notre Dame is number 23. They'd love to have a win here, but it's going to take a couple of solid defensive stands here and a little bit of offensive help. Freshman Meredith Burrows will lead off for NC State in the back end of the fourth. Line up at the pitch to her, just outside ball 1. Burrows did walk her last at bat in the second.
And if you're Notre Dame, you're really looking to get out of this inning unscathed.
It's a called strike in the upper portion of the zone that Burrows lets go. 1-1 now. Burrows, it's a bigger strike zone. She is so tall. There's another one on the outside portion down the middle. 1-2 now. Sam, how much does this concern you that now she's taken 2 strikes and hasn't got the bat off her shoulder yet this at bat?
You really want to see your batter swinging. You don't want to see just sitting there waiting for their pitch. I mean, obviously you want to hit the ball that you're going to be able to hit well, but if you just sit there with the bat on your shoulder, you're not going to hit anything.
Burrows digs back in. Payoff pitch coming. The 2-2, swing and a miss, strike 3. Naslund sends her down. 1 up, 1 down for Notre Dame.
She swung the bat. Just a little bit too late there.
Now coming to the plate.
It'll be Hannah Yeager, the center fielder.
Yeager.
Struck out looking at her last at bat. And once again, anybody below the 6th spot in the state lineup has not reached base. On that resume, 2 strikeouts and a flyout. This one is fouled straight back, out of play. Strike 1. Believe me, Rachel Naslund would love to have nothing more than a 3 up, 3 down inning right here. Working on it now in the lower portion of the state lineup.
Notre Dame has some momentum right now off of the home run and the batter.
This one could be a double down the third base line. It's going to be cut off by Wester. No wheel around, so a single by Hannah Yeager, as she did so many times yesterday, and the Packer in business with 1 out.
That was a really good way to get around on that ball by Hannah Yeager. She made good contact, sent it down the line, was able to get to first pretty easily.
Morgan Tharrington coming up to the plate, but not before Deanna Gumpf is going to come have a discussion. Not sure what substitution she's going to make, and it's going to be a pitching change. Allie Rhodes is going to come in relief of Rachel Naslund here. So we will take A short break here as we allow Allie Rhodes to warm up for the Fighting Irish. We'll be back shortly. You're watching NC State Softball on Wolfpack Sports Television and GoPack.com. Allie Rhodes will assume control of the pitching circle for the Fighting Irish. Had a decent outing. Nothing more, nothing less yesterday. Wasn't all her fault in a 9-2 losing effort. But she will look to capitalize on this one here. Start off, she will have Tharrington at bat.
NC State really just took advantage of Rhodes yesterday. I mean, 9 runs. Not all of them were on Rhodes, of course.
7 were earned, but a lot of it was bloated because of some home runs in the 6th inning once again. State exploded with 4 runs there and 3 in the 3rd. So it's going to be up to Rhodes to try to get out of this inning. Windup and the pitch from the lefty pitcher. First one is a ball.
And if Yeager does come around to score this inning, that will be a run on Naslund.
It will.
She's becoming a liability for 3 now. She's got to get her 3. I don't know who else to put there.
Rhodes winds up and fires here. Check swing, ball 2. Late appeal there by Bill Gomelich.
Want to check yourself sometimes.
Wind up in the pitch here. That one is inside, ball 3. Deanna Gumpf may be going gray if neither one of her top 2 pitchers is going to be able to hit the strike zone. Wind up and the pitch. And there's the first strike of the game for Allie Rhodes, right down the middle. Good take by Tharrington. Now she's going to hit her count. She can really start to pick her pitch here at 3-1.
Well, 3-0, you're always going to see the batter take 95% of the time at least.
And this one is going to be lifted, going, it is off the wall! State's going to try to wheel him in, and it's going to be a get down at 3rd. Safely in on the play is Yeager, getting around to 3rd from 1st on the standing double from Morgan Tharrington.
And that is Tharrington's first hit of the season. What a hit by Tharrington, too. I mean, getting that runner around to 3rd base. Now you've got 2nd and 3rd with 1 out. And really, Alyssa Compton has all the momentum in the world right now. She can hit this ball somewhere. Get 2 runs, maybe a fly out to right field. Get that sacrifice.
Big hitting chance for freshman Alyssa Compton, the Pack's 2nd baseman. She hit a rocket to the deepest part of the field in her first at bat, but it was caught out there by Emily Kerner. If she can turn on this one may be over before it starts. A little bunt, just dribbles foul. Tried the squeeze play there.
Good idea by State.
Well, there was no pinch in from Arizmendi, who reassumes control of first base. But now she's going to play a little bit deeper in on the corners, as well as Katie Haas over there at 3rd. If she can work it, Compton does have an opportunity to go up the middle with something. That would score a run, be it on a fielder's choice or a hit. And she's going to go right up the middle! That's going to score a 1! And they are not going to wave in Tharrington because it's he back into the plate, but Compton is going to assume control of 2nd base. Great hit by the freshman, an RBI single plus. And State continues to rock the Irish, now up 5-1.
That'll put Naslund's final line at 3.1 innings pitched with 5 earned runs. But what a hit by Compton. I mean, and really what a heads-up base running play, too, by Compton to really take 2nd on that.
The run by Yeager will be charged to the account of Rachel Naslund, but the 2 in scoring position now are all on Allie Rhodes, and she's back up to the top of the order with Renata Davis.
That was huge for NC State. Generate some power from your bottom of your lineup.
And now you're able to get back up to the top where the power is, and there's still only 1 out here. Wind up in the pitch. That one's high to Davis. Ball 1.
But Rhodes really just needs to settle down, get some balls low, and get that infield out at first so your runners don't advance.
Nobody pinching. Wind up in the pitch here. In the dirt, ball 2. Renata Davis quick to throw a hand up down to her 3rd base runner, Tharrington. Tharrington on 3rd, Compton on 2nd. 1 out. Wind up in the pitch here. That one sails high, and Rhodes is 1 pitch away from loading him up. Lana Van Dyken on deck, barring a double play. In the hole is Molly Hutchison, the catcher. And she's proven to be a power hitter as well. Here's the pitch inside, and she has chucked them full. Red on all of the bases for Lana Van Dyken.
Now batting for the Wolfpack, number 10, Lana Van Dyken.
Van Dyken's resume for the day is a walk, an attempted steal, batter interference called. She struck out in the third inning, but now Deanna Gumpf is going to have a conversation with her pitcher, and Allie Rhodes is going to skate right back out. So just as soon as she was in, Rachel Naslund is going to come back in and pitch for the Fighting Irish. And of course, Sam, in baseball, that's not going to be allowed, but the softball substitution rules are quite different. Naslund back in. The first half of her resume, 3.1 innings gone, 4 earned runs, 3 walks on 4 hits, including 2 of those hits being home runs. Cassidy Wooden will come out and have a discussion with her pitcher. Same with the bases loaded. What does Notre Dame have to do to try to get out of this jam?
Well, Rachel Naslund's a veteran pitcher. I mean, she's going to take advantage of the situation, hopefully. But Allie Rhodes really is pulling, really wants Rachel Naslund to pull through. Rhodes doesn't want these 3 earned runs at all. Notre Dame really just needs to get a ground ball here. Hard ground ball, preferably to second base. Get that out at first, but really isn't out at any base. So you can go wherever you want with it. Notre Dame wants to turn that double play to get themselves out of the inning.
Well, we'll see if they're going to be able to do so here. Whidden goes back behind the plate. Lana Van Dyken steps in. It's a huge at-bat for the Wolfpack. They could really bust this one open here. Wind up and the pitch. That one sails high, ball 1.
If you're Naslund, it's not where you want to put the ball.
She'll dig in once again. Wind up in the pitch, swing and a miss, strike 1. 1-1 as Naslund gets her head back in the game, seeing one go across the plate and forcing a swing from Van Dyken.
You got Van Dyken to miss on that, but again, Naslund put the ball high. She does not want to put the ball high.
Wind up and the pitch. That one's high again. And the fix to that is not to hang on to the ball quite so long, but you don't want to be bouncing one either. Anything that gets behind Whidden should score a run. Swing and a miss, strike 2 from Van Dyken. Now it's 2-2.
I heard that he was looking at 105 and
2-2. Bases loaded. Lana Van Dyken eyes the pitcher. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Naslund stops the bleeding for now, but now she's going to have to try to turn away a former teammate. And what a battle at the plate this is going to be. Molly Hutchison, the NC State catcher, versus Rachel Naslund, the Fighting Irish pitcher.
Now batting number 7, Molly Hutchison.
Hutchison has had 2 home runs, both on Naslund from game 1 of the doubleheader yesterday. 3 runs scored on the weekend. Hutchison eyes the target. Sent right in by Naslund. No runners moved. It's a good block by Whidden. Didn't let it get too far away from her. Chest down. Quality catching right there.
I mean, Hutchison's tied for the lead on the team in RBIs. She could bust that wide open right now.
Naslund finds the target, the windup, and the pitch swung on, and batted foul down the third base line. Another handcuffing pitch right there. Started up, comes back down. Hutchison chops a little bit of wood to get that one foul.
Chop some wood on the metal bat, right?
Exactly.
They just throw a bunch of balls.
1-1 pitch. Naslund rocks, fires, got her on the changeup, strike 2.
Hutchinson swinging for the fences.
If she is able to convert here with a hit, it's an exclamation point for the Wolfpack. Notre Dame will work 8-9-1 in their batting order coming up. And time will be called by Cassidy Whitten. I'm sure that message is, now you have to find a way to attack. Hutchinson's not going to miss many. Runners will be going if there's any sound from the crack of the bat. Two-out jam for Rachel Naslund, who has watched part of this inning from the dugout, has played the majority. Wind up of the pitch here, swing, and that is popped very high up into the sunshine. Notre Dame will find it, the catch is made. The Fighting Irish survive. NC State leaves the bases loaded from a one-out situation and are unable to convert further. They do pull out a run from the inning. They're up 5-1. Notre Dame will go back up to bat coming into the top of the 5th. You're watching NC State Softball on Wolfpack Sports Television and GoPack.com. Sarah White will lead off for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Grounded into a double play her last at bat. The Irish are going to need some offense. May not come this inning, although they do have Carly Wester batting in the hole. Opening pitch is ball.
She's got to be getting close. Look up, she's halfway down.
Wind up of the pitch. One's inside, ball 2.
And if you're Notre Dame, I mean, you do have 3 innings left, but you want to score as quick as you can. You don't want that 4-run deficit hanging over your head.
Yep, but at the same time, NC State's going to come up to bat, guaranteed 2 out of those 3 innings.
Mm-hmm.
2-0 pitch. That one's low, ball 3. This would be a huge walk if Wyman gives it up. Give a little bit of momentum to Notre Dame. Up next is going to be Sorley. Wind up in the pitch. And she'll walk her on 4 straight, so Sarah White gets on base, courtesy of the balls on bases. Bases on balls, pardon. Coming up will be Megan Sorley, the right fielder.
Now batting number 12, Megan Sorley.
You got nobody out and runner on first. If you're Notre Dame, you really want to take advantage of this.
Well, granted, it's not panic time for Emily Wyman yet.
No.
She does have the ability to force Sorley to ground into a double play. Strike 1 right there.
You're down at the very end. You got to wonder, I got to wonder.
And Van Dyken's eyeing out for the bunt by Sorley.
It's probably about the same size. It might be a little smaller. I need to take pictures.
Sorley stares down Wyman. Here's the pitch. Slap attempt. White was moving right there. She was practically halfway down to second before scampering back. 0-2.
Well, that's what I said. They're like, you know what? Other than Western, nobody hit the ball. So Megan hit the ball.
You got to be careful with the slap. If you hit that wrong, you're going to get a double play.
Whatever you do, you don't want to put it at Radonna Davis. Wind up in the pitch. Another slap attempt, foul straight back over the broadcast booth. Sorley will stay alive.
It's so funny how when you kind of like you start working with coaches that kind of work your way.
0-2, I'd look for something from Wyman that's out of the zone.
You get there and they come out.
Interestingly enough, Notre Dame and NC State share a common opponent upcoming. Fighting Irish stay in the great state of North Carolina as they will take on the Campbell Fighting Camels, the North Carolina Central Eagles, before heading back to South Bend. Move back up, it could be a foul out, and it is. Van Dyken finds it. Put out by NC State, 1 out in the inning.
Way to hang by Van Dyken. She was running in thinking the slap was going to be on the ground, but way to get back there and catch that.
And more notably about Notre Dame's upcoming schedule is they have to play number 12 Florida State in Tallahassee next weekend.
That'll be a challenging ACC matchup.
Carly Wester up to the plate. Slap attempt. Did she go? Yes, she did. Strike 1. Irish need to find a way to get something going offensively if they want to have any shot of avoiding a sweep. Here's where it's going to have to be now. Lyman finds the mitt, windup and the pitch, slap attempt again, swing and a strike 2.
And if Wyman can sit Wester down, that'll be some pretty good momentum there for NC State.
Speedy riser on that pitch. Wyman can really pull the string here if she wanted to with a breaking ball. Line up in the pitch. That's high and inside, ball 1.
I think they got her once. They got Simon a bunch. Simon, they've got her one time this year.
Wester will dig back in.
Yeah. And it's, for as far out as she runs, especially, it's surprising that she hasn't. But yeah.
Wind up and the pitch here, and that's going to be a little number. Could score. Everybody's safe. Perfect placement on the slapper. Right between the pitcher's mound and first base. Wester reaches, and now it's Jenna Simon with one in scoring position and another on first.
Carly Wester just has a ton of speed, and the freshman second baseman Alyssa Compton for NC State just didn't quite know where to go on that play, so she wasn't able to cover first in time.
I don't think it would have mattered. Wester is so fast.
Yeah, it looks like Wester had it beat out despite if Compton had been there.
Simon will dig in here. Up next is Kerner. Called strike in the upper part of the zone. 0-1.
This is a promising situation for Notre Dame, but also a dangerous one with force outs at pretty much any bag right now.
Well, the tying run could be on deck, so if Notre Dame can find a way to get both these runners on base home, it's huge. Wyman eyes the target, the delivery, it's going to be a bunt, trying to move everybody, throw to first. They're going to get Simon, but once again with 2 outs and 2 runners in scoring position, Notre Dame is going to have to convert and not strand somebody 75 feet away.
Well, here comes Kerner, who had that interesting out in her last at-bat.
Kerner, technically a strikeout 2-3 in your scorecard, but it's still debatable if she went around. The umpire said she did, and it was questionable. Just outside, ball 1. Chance arising from the Fighting Irish dugout.
If you're Kerner, you're really looking to put something in the outfield here so you can score both your runs.
There is a gap way out there in right center. She was aiming for it there, fooled on the breaker. 1-1.
And Wyman, being the veteran that she is, she's not going to give her anything to hit.
It's a base open, and honestly, I'm surprised State would not try for the walk. The only thing holding him off is that Katie Haas is on the way up, and she's had a home run this game. Ball inside.
Home run this game puts it at 6 on the season for Haas. She's the dynamo.
Wyman getting the signal from the dugout, and her pitching coach.
Extremely bright kids. You have to be
That's right. It's like, she just sits.
Wind up in the delivery, swung on and fouled straight back. 2-2 now. This is the best scoring opportunity for the Irish of the day. They need to convert in a bad sort of way, but they're a strike away from squandering another chance. Emily Kerner stares down Emily Wyman. Wyman rocks, fires, and that's low. The count goes full.
And if you're Wyman here, I mean, you don't want to put something right down the middle for Kerner to hit. You've got an open bag down there at first, but once again, Haas is coming up and you have the bases loaded, so we'll see what Wyman chooses to do here.
Runners will be going as soon as it crosses the plate. Wind up and the pitch. Swung on and fouled on the first base line. She'd straighten that one out. Hawkins may have had a beat on it, may not have. Would have been close. She stays alive for something better. Many free bases first. NC State looking to get out of a jam again. Wind up in the pitch. Swung on. That's his hit. Deep to center field. And it's going to be caught on the warning track by Hannah Yeager. State survives once again on the deep drive that's not quite deep enough. Notre Dame leaves 2 in scoring position. NC State coming to bat in the bottom of the 5th. You're watching NC State Softball on Wolfpack Sports Television and GoPack.com. Welcome back to Raleigh, North Carolina. Curtis and Jacqueline Dale Softball Stadium. Drew Blevins alongside Sam LaFell. Tyler Ross will lead off for NC State in the bottom half of the 5th inning. The Wolfpack holding a 5-1 lead over the number 23 Notre Dame Fighting Irish, looking for an ACC opening series sweep. Ross really busted this thing open back in the 3rd with a home run. Scored 3. Wind up and the pitch. Nicks the outside corner, strike 1.
And NC State's record right now is 9-7, 2-0 in the ACC, so they hadn't hit the top 25 yet, but 3 of those losses were against number 1 ranked Florida.
One up the pitch again. She sent this one all the way out to center. Look out, cameraman! It's gone. Her 2nd of the game. Tyler Ross makes it a couple field goals for NC State. 6-1 for Big Red, and they roll.
Tyler Ross is feeling it today. That gives her 4 home runs on the season with 15 RBIs. This girl is rolling.
That's why she bats cleanup. Lead-off home run once again, and that sends Maggie Hawkins to the plate.
Now batting number 36.
Sam, do you begin to wonder, does Sean Reichik look at maybe trying to shake up the lineup if this game becomes fairly in hand for NC State?
Well, I mean, for Rychik, he really wants to keep his players in there, get him some good ACC playtime, so I wouldn't look him to do too much with his lineup, but it's possible maybe it's 6th, 7th inning.
This one's a blooper right to the shortstop, fielded by a White. That's the first out of the inning for Notre Dame. Next up's going to be Meredith Burrows for NC State.
Meredith Burrows.
Softball may be a slowly developing sport, but once you get runners on, it can change in a swing of the bat.
Burrows struck out her last at bat, reached on a walk in the one prior. She'll receive some quick instruction from Sean Reichik. Burrows digs into the box.
This is good for Burrows, a minimal stress situation just to see if she can get something working.
Called strike 1 on a slow one that flutters into the strike zone.
Let's also not forget that the bottom half of this NC State lineup really got stuff working the last time they came around.
They did. They were the one that started to generate the offense. Single, double, single plus. Especially you look at Morgan Tharrington earning her first hit of the season.
Huge RBI double for Tharrington back in the 4th.
Line up in the pitch. It's outside again.
Everybody clap your hands.
Burrows will dig in, stares down the pitcher. Aslin winds and fires. That's a ball. Very close to nicking the outside edge, but it grows to 3-1.
And for college softball catchers, framing has to be an art. You want to make sure the ump can see the ball, and you want to make sure he's going to call it a strike whenever it's close.
This one is lifted high. Will it carry to the warning track? And it's gone! The freshman sends it out of the ballpark. 7-1 NC State.
Burrows' 8th hit of the season with 3 home runs. I mean, when she gets on, she's on.
Meredith Burrows makes the crowd happy. More free t-shirts rain down in Raleigh. 7-1.
And 6 of NC State's 7 runs have come off of home runs.
Well, and Sam, this is getting kind of surprising. Rachel Naslin was so dominant yesterday. Of course, yields the 3 home runs still. but it's a 4-2 game compared to this one, which is coming into the makings of a laugher, now 7-1.
She might not even pitch her in these two midweek.
First pitch is inside ball 1. Hannah Yeager had a single her last at bat. And that jump-started the Pack offense to 4 straight hits.
The Wolfpack rolling with 7 home runs in the last 2 games against Rachel Naslund.
That one reached out right between the wickets of the shortstop, White. And it's another on-base attempt. We'll see what that'll be scored.
E6, most likely.
And it will be an error from the official scores. White lets that one go 5-hole on her. Still 1 out and a runner back on for the Pack.
Morgan Barrington.
Morgan Tharrington with the first hit of the season, huge RBI double the last time up. Let's see if she can roll Yeager around in the third. Maybe she can get the second again.
Good cut there, misses, strike 1. And it really is amazing, Sam. Once you see yourself get a hit, start to be able to run the bases, get out there on the pass, you start to swing with a little more swagger, a little more confidence, and I think that's what you're going to see here from Tharrington.
Yeah, the confidence is key when you're batting. You want to be able to have a nice strong swing, get that ball out.
Another solid cut, but just does miss, strike 2.
Those strong swings don't really matter if you can't hit the ball.
The 0-2 pitch, foul ball, right back into the screen. Alyssa Compton, the freshman, is up after Tharrington, barring a double play, of course.
Yeah, and Yeager certainly not trying to steal a base or anything, not too much of a threat for NC State.
Strike 3 as Whitten catches and tags. Tharrington will take a seat, and that's the bottom of the state lineup, the freshman Alyssa Compton.
Now batting number 21, Alyssa Compton.
Compton's resume is a single and a fly out to center. She's made good contact with the ball throughout the course of the day. Wind up and the pitch. Straight down the middle, strike 1. And Sam, it is worth mentioning that now we're 2 runs away from the mercy rule, assuming that NC State doesn't give anything up next inning. It's the top of the order for NC State. We could be out of here early.
It's very possible.
Popped right back up onto the concourse level. That'll bounce back down into the crowd.
And for sakes of clarity, the mercy rule is 8 runs after 5 innings.
Might just be time for some new blood. Yeah.
Compton will dig back in. Wind up with a pitch, swing and a miss. Strike 3. She got her on 3 straight. So after Naslund gives up the home run to Ross and another one to Burrows, Notre Dame will come back up badly, needing to try to quench the drought of offense. We'll see if they're able to do so. Heading into the top of the 6th, you're watching NC State Softball on Wolfpack Sports Television and GoPack.com. Top of the 6th as the 5th inning stretch has just ended here at Curtis and Jacqueline Dale Softball Stadium. Drew Blevins alongside Sam LaFell. Sam, right now NC State is dominating. There's no other way of putting it.
4-2 yesterday, 9-2 yesterday, again 7-1 right now. I mean, NC State just has not struggled this weekend against Notre Dame.
Katie Haas, the leadoff hitter for Notre Dame, and she'll strut it off with a first pitch single. The Irish have a runner on base.
If you're Notre Dame, that's what you want to do. Let's see what Arizmendi can do.
And now, Sam, I mean, we did discuss the mercy rule in the last inning, but it should also be duly noted that in the college game, you're not as likely to see these leads hold up. There should be a little bit of a rally coming from the Fighting Irish. We just don't know when.
Oh yeah, softball and baseball alike are both very fast-paced games. They can change in a heartbeat, but college especially.
Arizmendi had a single her last at bat. Wind up and the pitch.
So she goes.
It's just outside, ball 1. Earlier, she ended a Notre Dame attempt to score a couple more runs in the first inning. The play unassisted to Renata Davis on the grounder. Wind up with the pitch. That one swung on, tried to put it in the gap. Could be a double play. Van Dyken thinks better of it and fires over for the runner at first. That'll put Haas in scoring position for the catcher, Cassidy Whidden.
Interesting play there by Van Dyken. Usually, if you're going to get the force out at one of the bases, you would choose the fielder's choice to be at the second base.
It was a good jump by Haas, though.
Very good.
Whidden stares down Wyman. In turn, she'll wind up and fire. This one is beat right out to right field, over the head of Tharrington. Coming in to score is going to be Haas, and it's going to be a sliding double for Notre Dame.
And the bounce off the wall went right under Tharrington's glove, or else it might have been a closer play than it was.
Spectacular job by Whidden to put that one out into play. Notre Dame trying to start the rally, and it's a good nod to do so. Now they're down 7-2. Still a lot of ground to make up, but now that they're seeing some runs get across the plate, there is a little more hope there. There were some defensive changes coming out of the inning. In right field, Hannah Yeager shifts over. Macaulay Prickett, the freshman from Petaluma, California, comes in to play center field. Prickett did have a little bit of playing time yesterday. We may have a new batter here. Pardon, we won't.
Yeah.
It's going to be Africano still.
Well, I mean, it doesn't really look like a big deal.
Umpire making sure that everything is all squared away substitution-wise.
Yeah.
Notre Dame in a good situation here. Runner in scoring position, 1 out. Casey Africano at the plate. Wind up and the delivery. Called strike, 1 on the inside corner.
For Notre Dame, this is their time to convert. I mean, if you can just replace your runner at second, put Africano right over there and drive in Whidden.
Oh, sure. If you can just keep runners going right around the base paths, that's exactly what you want to do. That one's right up in the gap! And Deanna Gumpf is going to hold her runner at third. It's another hit for the Irish. Have the bats awoken for Notre Dame? We'll see what will happen. Courtney Mirabella is warming up in the NC State bullpen. Wyman in a rare jam, runners on the corners.
Looking for Africano, most likely to steal this bag. She's 0 for 1 on the season in steal attempts, but it's the situation where you would do it, of course.
Africano is 0 for 1 stealing. There's the first strike. Hefty cut by White. Runners on the corners. Coach Gumpf does like to try to move the runner if she can. Hutchinson does have a cannon for an arm, but you would imagine that something would be able to happen if the runner started moving. Wind up and the pitch. That one swung on and fouled back. Big pitch for Wyman. Now she's got White in the hole once again. Megan Sorley is on deck. She's flown out and struck out today's game. For White, she has walked and grounded into a double play. So not a lot of production coming out of these next 2 hitters. Wind up in the pitch here. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Wyman sends White packing for the second time this game. Pardon, for the first time this game. And now we are going to see a pinch hitter coming in. And it's going to be Pickenich coming in for Notre Dame. She was the one who tried to start the rally earlier wearing her green leprechaun hat in the dugout. Saw that after the Haas home run.
Pitching for Notre Dame, number 11, Carly Pickenich.
Carly Pickenich is a junior for the Fighting Irish. So 1 year left of her playing time. Once again, it's a familiar situation. There's a runner on third, Sam, and Notre Dame's down to the last out in the inning.
And so far for Pickenich on the season is 4 hits and 15 at-bats, so she isn't doing too bad on the season at all.
Tried the slap play, had both runners going. Strike one.
And you're really looking for the veteran experience of Pickenich as a junior to come through and be able to hit something into the outfield. You got your left fielder and center fielder playing shallow too. So if she could get something over their head, she can draw in 2 runs.
Wind up and the pitch. Slapped out, a little doinker right at home plate, spins foul. That may have been the play she wanted. There is some speed out there.
Hey, battle back here, kid.
So Pickenich in the hole 0-2. Molly Hutchinson's going to go out and have a discussion with her pitcher.
I mean, right now, Wyman certainly has the advantage. 0-2 with 2 outs. You got to force it second or first.
Sean Rychik is now going to just go ahead and make it a full-scale board meeting. Infield in, outfield's having their own discussions. And I mean, for the casual eye, you would say, well, why in the world is this such a big deal? 2 outs, yeah, a runner in scoring position in a 7-2 ball game. Well, look at it this way. If Pickenich is able to convert here, then you're going to get right back up to Carly Wester. And following her is the producing part of that Notre Dame lineup, and you want to prolong that as long as possible. You especially want to minimize any runs that you're going to give up.
You definitely don't want the top of the lineup to come up with runners already on the base.
Now Bill Gomelich will come out and break up the meeting here for the red and white. Everybody resumes their positions. Pickenich digs in. Wyman, ball in glove, will get the signal.
Outfielders now playing incredibly shallow.
Lined up in a pitch here, slapped right back toward first. Hawkins scoops and tags. State out of the jam once again, but not before Notre Dame is able to get at least one more on the board.
1-3-0-2.
Katie Haas comes across.
1 run.
NC State
No errors, 2 left
to
on
the
base.
back end of the 6th. They will bat. Mercy rule,
Pick up your prize.
at least it could be discussed here. But they are going to need to have a big inning to be able to do so and try to lock it out here and send us home early. We'll see if they're going to be able to do so. You're watching NC State Softball on Wolfpack Sports Television and GoPack.com.
25.
NC State 7, Notre Dame 2 here at Curtis and Jacqueline Dale Softball Stadium. It's the top of the lineup for the Wolfpack, Renata Davis stepping in here. Davis, home run and 2 walks. Productive day. 2 runs scored in the ball game as well. Naslin eyes the target, winds up and fires inside ball 1.
And I mean, as you discussed before break, Drew, talking about the mercy rule, if NC State's going to do it, this is the time to do it. It's 1, 2, 3, and possibly 4 or 5 coming after that.
Yeah.
She'd be out there getting pissed if people took 3.
Yes.
Davis stares down the pitch of the windup of the pitch here, swung on. She nearly yanked that one back out of the backside fence. However, it's fouled straight back into the screen instead. 1-1. Wind up in the pitch. 1-1, right down the middle. Strike 2.
And if NC State's going to generate some offense here, I think with the veteran status of Renata Davis, she realizes they don't need home runs. Those 6 of their 7 runs have come off of those. They're just going to put people on base and try to generate offense that way, hopefully.
Up next for the Irish will be the top of their order as well, so there certainly is some work to be done, just tying up the loose ends. But nonetheless, it is important that those are done.
And you definitely don't want to underestimate the power of the Irish.
Davis digs in. 1-2 pitch. Outside, ball 2.
I went to St. Bonaventure.
One of our guys in our office actually went to St. Bonaventure.
So it will be Davis to dig in once again. Van Dyken behind her. Sean Rychik having a discussion down there. Here's the windup and the pitch. This one swung on. It's going, and just over the top of the fence. Another rocket from Renata. 8-2 Wolfpack. Davis's second home run of the game, her third run scored. And that's why she's the all-time school leader in the category of home runs as she jacks that one deep.
Renata Davis had 1 home run in 16 games this season before this. That's 2 home runs in the game. Explains why she's the all-time home runs leader for sure.
53rd of her career for Davis. And is number 25 something else or what?
That was incredible.
Now batting number 10, Lana Van Dyken.
Lana Van Dyken steps in here, tries the butt, it's up in the air, Whitten out, slides to her knees, and she got her!
What a catch.
Great effort from the catcher, Whitten.
The presence of mind there to be able to get up out of your crouch and run over and get that ball, which is falling fast to the ground.
Well, not only that, she's been through it all. She's been put through the gauntlet after having the foul tip go off of her cheekbone in yesterday's contest, and now she's back behind the plate catching and producing on offense. Very surprising. Hutchison ripped that one right down the line, but foul. That'll wake up Katie Hawes.
That's the second time Hutchison has done that this game.
She has a single today and 2 flyouts on her resume. 8-2 for the Pack.
Not the most productive day for Hutchison, but the rest of the lineup's certainly moving.
That one's a called strike 2.
And back to Renata Davis's home run. I mean, she just line drive home runs just snuck over the fence. I mean,
Well, I didn't think it was going to carry, quite honestly, when I first saw it.
it didn't look like it, but it snuck.
That one just creeps outside, ball 1. Speaking of the power hitters, of course, we all know Hutchison does have that power. Number 7 for the Pack digs in. The wind-up, the rock back, and the pitch. Swung on and put down the third baseline foul.
And that home run for the Wolfpack gives them 5 on the day. So they are moving.
Sean Reichik now. Kinrith a little easier. They get the run back from the top half of the inning. Hutchison looks to build. Stomping back into the batter's box. Opening the stance, the windup and the pitch swung on, lifted right to second base. And it was caught on the line by the second baseman, Simon. So it's another out for the Pack.
And that was a good glove play by Simon there, just to get there and make sure the ball was in her glove.
Well, if you had to give a Player of the Game award, it might have to go to this young lady coming up to bat now, and that's Tyler Ross. Back-to-back home runs in the last 2 at-bats for her. Before that, she did strike out. But Ross has been swinging some heavy lumber. Wind up in the pitch. That's a bouncer right over to Simon. Hopped the glove. And Ross is going to be on base.
And that's definitely a hit. Simon just wasn't able to get there, but that took a tricky hop.
Now it is Maggie Hawkins coming to the plate. She'll have a discussion with her coach real quick.
So Tyler Ross's resume on the day, it's a 3 for 4, 2 home runs, 4 RBIs.
That is correct.
I would give her player of the game, but my opinion doesn't really matter too much.
Maggie Hawkins is the only player on this NC State roster who does not have a hit today. Grounded in to a ground out and has flown out to the left side of the field twice. Her teammates are right up there cheering her on.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Too.
Rock back and the pitch here. That's inside ball 1.
I was telling, I put this in writing Wednesday after the game. I was like, I bet after losing to Elon, We're going to finally be the team that we're supposed to be this year.
And Hawkins opening up that stance. Looks like she wants to try to yank that one over to the left side of the field again if she
We
can.
don't play well. We could lose.
Wind up in the pitch. That one's high ball too.
It's a little fun, don't lose.
The mercy rule run at home plate.
They ran out to field. They're like 7
2 outs against the Pack and a 2-0 count.
They're so excited. The coach comes out. Everybody's like, oh my God.
Target spotted. The pitch. Outside ball 3.
And look for Hawkins to be taking here on 3-0 2 out. You don't.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised to see her take 2 with the way Nassen's been pitching. Ross on first. 2 outs. 3-0.
It's NC State baseball.
Wind up in the pitch. This one is swung on, ripped down the third baseline foul. Hawkins got all of that one. Would have put it in a great spot. Just couldn't straighten it out down the line quite enough.
And it goes the same for softball and baseball. That your power hitters are typically gonna try to pull the ball. It's much easier to get that bat head around and rip it out to left or right.
You know what? At this point,
You get one, go for it.
you see yours, hit yours.
The 3-1 pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 2.
Tom was about to go.
Fooled her on the breaking ball changeup. And now it's a full count. Hawkins digs back in here.
And Ross will be moving with the ball.
As soon as it crosses home plate, you don't want to get called for leaving early. Wind up in the pitch. Swung on, grounder through the hole. Everybody for the Pack has a hit today. Maggie Hawkins is the mercy rule run, and she is on first now for Meredith Burrows, the freshman. Looks like we may have a substitution coming.
I forgot to tell you. I forgot. My fault. Kylie came in to play center field for her.
Making a play here.
On a right chick,
Diego will go back.
working something here. Macaulay Prickett is on deck, should she be needed.
14, Meredith Burrows.
It'll be Meredith Burrows up to plate here. And they are going to send in a pinch runner here. That's going to be number 5 for NC State. That's Molly Martin. She'll come in for Hawkins. So just to recap, to make sure that everybody is on the same page here, Ross
Molly Martin.
remains on second. Coming in to pinch run is Molly Martin for Hawkins. And up at the plate is Meredith Burrows. Fresh count for Naslin to work with, although she would prefer to be watching her team try to pull off a miracle in the dugout by now. Wind up and the pitch. Big swing by Burrows, but comes up with no contact.
Burrows did hit a home run in her last at bat, so she's looking to repeat, of course.
It just seems like
Wind up in the pitch here. That one's just outside.
See, that thing about it.
Ball 1.
2 homers, somebody had to be sure.
Sam, I'm pretty sure that last swing was so big that it started generating enough wind to move the flags out there in the outfield, though.
She certainly wanted that one.
What's the rule? Swing hard, hope to make contact?
Close.
Something like that.
Wind up in the pitch here. That one paints the outside corner, strike 2. Also of note, in their at-bat innings, NC State has only been scoreless one time, 1-0-3, 1-2-1.
Then again, who knows?
So consistent production. There's a swing, foul back into the screen. Burrows stays alive.
One of the games, everybody had a hit.
I got really bad.
Look at it now. It's not how it goes down because the kids at the bottom.
It's
It's not really doing anything either.
Runners on first and second. The 1-2 pitch. And that one's high, ball 2.
Really bad. Really bad. Really bad.
And if you're an NC State fan especially, it has just been a lovely afternoon, both weather-wise and what we assume to be result-wise. Wind up in the pitch. Outside ball 3.
A lovely weekend. Rychek will be sending his runners.
Again, and Naslin would really like to avoid the walk here. Wind up in the pitch. Called strike 3. Burrows cannot believe it. That one is a little bit of a tough one to swallow, but makes up for a third ball that should have been called a strike. Nonetheless, the result is the same. State pushes 1 across. They are up 8-2. Will the luck of the Irish be with the Notre Dame, or will they get swept? They're down 6 going into the top of the 7th. You're watching NC State Softball on Wolfpack Sports Television and GoPack.com. Top of the 7th here from Raleigh. Top of the order for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. It is Carly Wester. Wester reached on an error and has a single today. Grounded out in her middle at bat. This one is beat all the way out to center, and it is going to go over the head. A Prickett, could be a triple here down to third. Safe. Drop ball, nearly an inside the park home run if that had gotten away from Van Dyken.
I'm starting to think that wasn't going to happen at all.
So there is a triple for Carly Wester, and she will gladly take it. Now Jenna Simon comes up.
And that's exactly how you want to start this inning if you're Notre Dame.
They're definitely playing for a slap.
Beat that ball all the way out to center.
She wants to head one out. She wants coach to start letting her do it. But
Wind up with the pitch here. Another slap by Simon. And they're going to call the batter out of the box there. Strike 1 regardless. So Simon leaves early, 0-1. Wind up in the pitch here. Had her going again, but that's a ball outside. And the State fans do not like that one one bit. 1-1 now. Lyman eyes the target. Rock back and fires. It's a ball low.
I guess in their last 3 defensive outs, NC State has given something for their fans to cheer about.
I don't know if they have much to complain about though. Up 8-2 in the ACC, staring a sweep in the face. Not much to be unhappy about.
Very true.
That's a ball outside again. Slight amendment to something I had said earlier. I had quoted that all the State players had a hit. That's not true. All the State players have reached base. Lana Van Dyken does not have a hit to her name. She walked to reach earlier. Line up in the pitch, and that one clanks off Molly Hutchinson's mask. I'll leave the count at 2. Full count, pardon.
should get her on the jump here.
Signal given to Wyman. It's a huge at-bat for Simon. She'd love to put the ball in play. Full count.
I do too. I definitely don't.
Wind up in the pitch. Swung on, slapped right back up to Compton, who's got it, finishes the out at first. But Wester will score on the fielder's choice.
And that was a good play by NC State there with Compton. Just not worry about the runner on third. Just get that out at first.
Now batting number 3, Emily Kerr.
4-3 put out. State 2 outs away from the ACC opening sweep.
Everybody clap your hands.
Emily Kerner to the plate for the Fighting Irish. Now down 5. Behind her, it'll be Haas. Line up with the pitch here. Kerner swings. Hefty cut, fouls it down the first base line.
He does it all the time. We played on the SEC network in Florida, and I was listening to
A little bit stretched out in the middle of the infield there. There is a gap up towards center if Kerner could drive it there.
I feel at least good about this.
Wind up in the pitch. And that's bunt attempt. Started foul, ends foul.
She's cruising. She's hitting the thing in the gap. And then
All of a sudden, in the hole, 0-2 is Kerner.
I had somebody try telling me one time, that it wasn't a sack. And she bunted. I'm like, what do you mean it wasn't a sack? Another event, she goes, she's batting 500. It's not a sack.
Kerner opens the stance.
Yeah. I was like,
Wyman may go for the attack right here. And she will, but misses outside.
right. That's what I
Good
said. I said, the right
fastball.
move, she's put out. It's a
A
sack.
little inaccurate, 1-2.
Wyman really just looking to finish this game out, not give up more than 3 runs.
Well, that fastball is made with nothing more than simple leg drive. There's just so much power in Wyman's lower half.
And I like how it's written too. It says, hey, if somebody
Explodes off the mound. Stays between the stripes, too. Here it is, swung, foul down the first base line. Hawkins would have had it if it stayed fair.
That's an interesting fact about softball is all the power comes from their legs. Not a lot of the power is from the arm.
Kerner, 1-2 count.
3 more strikes though, you said, right?
Wyman rocks and fires. This one's fouled down the third base line, up near the concourse.
Notre Dame just doing everything they can right now just to stay in.
They are, and they've battled, and they've had their chances, but as we said yesterday, it's just been near misses for the Irish, and they're going to have to rectify that to remain competitive in the ACC.
She's so paranoid.
Line up in the pitch. Swung on, down the third base line, foul on the warning track.
I mean, coming into this series, Notre Dame was ranked 23rd in the country, and you're not just gifted a national ranking. So Notre Dame does things to earn this.
No, and the score may not indicate that, but Notre Dame has really been in every game at some point.
Exactly, they're always threatening. You can't actually let down your guard.
If they fix giving up the home run ball, I mean, these are 3 very competitive games, as that one sails high.
We played them at San Diego
2-2.
State my first year.
Yeah, Naslin has gave up 8 home runs in the last 2 games she's played against State, being yesterday and today.
They got up the bus way to play. It was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. They are like paranoid beyond the fault.
Kerner digs in once again.
But there's
Payoff pitch time for Wyman. The 2-2 delivery, swung on and missed, strike 3.
And NC State down to the last defensive out. Notre Dame with their backs against the wall.
Irish last hope right now resides in Katie Haas. Not a bad player to have up in the plate in one of these scenarios, but they are heading back into the bottom half of the order. Arizmendi on deck should she be needed. Righty versus righty matchup. Haas scored 2 of the 3 Irish runs today. Wester has the other. And Haas had a home run earlier, ball 1.
Yes, sir. When you go down there, would you mind making sure that they remember the organization? You want to do it immediately or like?
As far as the sport goes, not too much to be worried about right now for NC State. Have the game in the bag, but Rodchick also does want his players to get comfortable out there. He wants them to always be ready.
That's right over to Davis. Tough throw to Hawkins. Pulls it out of the dirt, and that is going to end the ball game. NC State with a resounding victory over number 23 Notre Dame by a final count of 8-3. Sam, it is a total effort for the Wolfpack, and the fans will applaud them for it.
What a wonderful weekend series from the Wolfpack. Home opener, ACC opener. Sweep it 3-0 against the number 23 Notre Dame team. I mean, Notre Dame is a really good team we've seen so far this season after a 12-6 record before coming into this weekend series. I'm really looking forward to seeing the Wolfpack play through the rest of the season after a very, very impressive ACC home opener.
State will head to Boys Creek in the week. They will take on Campbell there before returning home for a non-conference set. Longwood, Lipscomb, Fordham, Missouri on Friday and Saturday. Binghamton on Sunday. Signing off for Wolfpack Sports Television coverage for our camera people, Madison Bell and Chris Lehman, our producer, BJ Atarian, and Chuck Gibbons. And for Sam LaFell, my color commentator, I'm Drew Blevins. Final score again for the Curtis and Jacqueline Dale Softball Stadium. NC State 8, Notre Dame 3. Have a lovely Sunday afternoon. You've been watching Wolfpack Sports Television, bringing you into the pack.